Welcome to Beyond Normal Days, episode 7. This month's guest on the show is Trovarsi. Trovarsi is a DJ and music producer based out of Los Angeles. She makes up one half of the live act and duo Forward. I got to personally meet Trovarsi the night Forward debuted at a Temple Tuesdays event in Los Angeles in 2018. I had the honor to open up the night. By this time, I had already seen her name on lineup bills for parties around LA, and of course we followed each other on social media platforms. Trovarsi has released tracks on imprints such as Slick 6 Music and TrueLife Recordings. She has released an EP called Stellar this past February, with remixes by Michael St. Patrick, Marcel Videla, and Beyond Normal Days alumni Annika Wolf. The EP was released on Slick 6 Music. Trovarsi also has her own podcast called Transduction Signal, formerly known as the Vibe Lounge. The show is broadcasted every second Wednesday of every month on UK's Fnoob Techno radio, so make sure to check that out. The mix for this episode was curated by Trovarsi and features a hybrid set consisting of both tracks and live synths and percussion. She mentioned to me that this is her new and current hybrid set for her when she performs at her upcoming gigs. The opening track is called Kodos by Peter Vincent, which was followed by the Michael St. Patrick remix of Stellar. The mix also includes original tracks by Risk, Marcel Videla, and Nina V. It was a great time sitting down with her on her dope studio and getting to know her a little bit more. I hope y'all enjoy our talk and Trovarsi's awesome mix. Make sure to catch her at Techno Taco Tuesday in Las Vegas, Nevada on March 19th, Synthplex in Burbank, California on March 28th to the 30th. Synthplex is a brand new annual All Things Synthesizer Festival that will include exhibits and live performances. Make sure to get your tickets as soon as possible. Trovarsi will also be at Panic in Los Angeles, California on April 6th and July 6th. Make sure to support the recent release Stellar out on Slick 6 Music and follow Trovarsi on Twitter, which is Trovarsi US, and on Instagram, Trovarsi Official. Don't forget to follow Beyond Normal on Twitter, and that is Beyond Normal _, and on Instagram, Beyond Normal Official. Thank you for listening, and make sure to keep it beyond normal, y'all.
capture, 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 second stage capture, 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 second stage capture. Capture. Capture.
Welcome to Beyond Normal Days.
Thanks
This is
for having
episode
me.
7
What-
with Trovarsi.
Thank you. Thank you for having me
No.
on the show.
No, actually, thank you for inviting me to your studio, to your beautiful studio, and giving me the chance to get to know you a little bit more and let the audience get to know you a little bit more as well, too. Right off the back, so I remember when every time I do like an interview, I like to do like a little, I guess, internet research and see what it's on the internet already, before, asking the questions. But
Right.
so you're from Wisconsin.
Yes. Born and raised in Madison, Wisconsin.
And how's that? How's like for somebody who's never even gone, Midwest? Well, I went to Detroit, but just for movement, But that's
Right. That's Midwest too. Yeah,
Okay,
all
so
of it over there.
so how is it growing up, or just growing up in Wisconsin?
Yeah. Well, let's see. I was born in early 70s, so different vibe happening there in the Midwest. So
The 70s. So did
Yeah.
you catch any
yeah.
hippie culture?
No, I
there was
mean, I
no-
wasn't that. I'm not that old. I mean, I
No,
was
you
born.
said-
Yeah, no.
No,
I was
but like,
born in
as a-
'74, so like my background, it was interesting. It wasn't. My mom's Sicilian and my dad is Black and Irish, so
Oh,
kind of
whoa.
getting that, the biracial,
Yeah,
being in the Midwest and growing up in that time, wasn't always that easy. Like, as opposed to maybe growing up in a bigger city where there's a little more diversity happening.
And how did your parents like meet? If that,
Oh, actually, my dad at the time he was a jazz musician. He played the trombone, and he
Oh.
lived in Chicago actually. And played,
Ah, nice,
yeah,
nice,
yeah.
nice, nice.
So then, but hey, like overall, like I had a good childhood, and I grew up mostly with the Italian influence
Ah,
with my
okay,
mom
okay.
and
So
all
you're
of
eating
the-
good too.
Yeah, for sure. Homemade Italian food.
So is
or Sicilian to be specific, but
And it's funny because I think it was. Well, I don't want to just say stereotypical, and bring The Godfather, because they're like kind of like they bring up like Sicily, like, oh, he's Sicilian,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
kind of like as a like something cool, like, yo, he's from Sicily,
Right.
he's OG, right? That's what I was taking it from or something. I don't know.
yeah.
Okay, but
No, but everything, it was good, and I think that the music scene too. I mean, I didn't leave Wisconsin until the early to mid 90s. So
Oh, okay,
I
so
did
you were
my
here.
whole ravey, I was there in the Midwest for the house and, the techno coming up. And
Yeah.
I mean, I remember, going down to Chicago and listening to Kashmir DJ,
Yeah,
or,
whoa.
DJ Psycho Bitch and all that, all like.
So you said you left Wisconsin like in your 20s. I'm guessing you were 25.
No, I left there. I was like 19.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah.
okay. So you did. So in high school you were raving.
Pretty much. yeah.
Okay, tight. That's tight because you see, I didn't get to rave in high school until like my last year. So I'm always like, I always put myself into perspective. Like, how was it? Like, how would it be if I was like, going to a rave and then I have, during the weekend, because like,
Right,
for the
right.
most part, people weren't like, you didn't have a job, or if you did have a part-time job, for the most part, but everybody who I know who was raving in high school didn't have a job, so it was more freely to do so, because you can party,
Right. No,
and
I had
you
a
don't have to
job
go to
and
work.
stuff.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
nice.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
never mind.
Yeah, I
People
was
that know,
actually
never
worked
mind,
at a
just-
local record store.
Oh,
and
sick. That's tight.
yeah, I was a buyer. That was like right when CDs were coming out and stuff.
Wait, but as a buyer, every time I hear like the story as a buyer, that means you get so diverse into your music
Oh,
because
yeah.
you have to. Like
Yeah.
you have to. There's like no like
Yeah, I listened to everything. I mean, rock, hip hop, some hip hop, then R&B,
Yeah.
like dance music. I mean, all of it. Like there's a lot of live bands. I mean, people say, "Oh, the Midwest," not a lot was happening, but within
There's
growing
probably
up
a
in
lot.
Madison,
Yeah.
that's a college town, so that
Pretty lively, no?
yeah, it was pretty diverse in that sense. But also, I got to see a lot of really good bands at some really small venues, like really intimate venues. I mean, I saw Green Day when their dad had to travel with them because they were
What?
underage, So, and like Sarah McLachlan, for example, all the way, and I met her at the record store. And then like I said, then we'd go to the club, like head down to Chicago, and that's when Kashmir was coming up. So, I mean, I had a pretty diverse background of like listening to various types of music.
And that's what when I remember when I went, I'm like, because I suck at geography, so I was like, where is Wisconsin at? And I saw it's close to Chicago and Detroit. So that's why I was kind of thinking, I'm like, for sure, house and techno was, was your background or your soundtrack, for sure, and just growing up in general.
Right.
So, raving in high school. How was it? Like, was there like warehouse parties or what was it like?
Well, because it is the Midwest and there's not a lot of, clubs and venues.
Yeah.
People made their own venues. You'd go and you'd get that was back in the day, you get the flyer with the number and you'd get the location.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, like in the SoCal, like, well, just in general. That's like back
you
in
get
that
it,
slave
and then
culture.
like you drive to someone's farm in the middle of nowhere, and there'd be this barn, this abandoned barn somewhere in the middle of some cornfield, and you're like, where the hell am I going? And then you're driving through, and you get out and walk, and then all of a sudden there'd be a couple hundred people in this.
You already know,
barn,
okay,
and
okay,
just
we're
like
here,
the
we're here.
music is just banging, and you're like, okay.
Was raving like was it not cool, but was it like, yeah, like accepted in high school, or were you guys kind of looked at as like outcasts and
No, I guess I didn't really
pay attention to the haters?
pay attention to that.
Yeah.
I mean, my high school, I actually went to high school in Monona, which is like a little town or suburb, I guess, of Madison, which would be like the equivalent of saying, hey, I live in LA proper, but maybe you live in Glendale. You know what I
okay.
mean?
Yeah,
Just to kind of
it's
give you
like,
like some sort of a reference.
Perspective,
Perspective on. But yeah, like my high school at the time, there was 500 kids total. And so that's not a lot of people, number one. And then also there's other factors, like I was coming out of the closet then. So my raving wasn't really like the forefront of like what, and like, I don't know, like all my high school friends, I guess I didn't have those problems of issues in high school, like coming out or I was probably one of 5 people of color in my high school.
Oh shit.
And at that time, I guess I just didn't really. Maybe I was fortunate in that sense to be surrounded by people that
Were accepted?
they didn't even. It wasn't even really. We were just friends and we just hung out.
That's
and like,
tight.
and I didn't always hang out with. I had other friends too,
Yeah,
like
of course,
from
yeah.
outside of high school and stuff like that. But but
Was the baggy jeans in as well too, like the whole raving, like that was it? Or
yeah,
was that
and cross colors and stuff.
Well, because I remember I asked Jeremy Senna, like, oh, did you use Jenko jeans? And then I was thinking, just baggy clothes in general was popular in the 90s because also in skate culture, people were wearing like these baggy pants and t-shirts, even to the extreme, so I'm like, oh, it's just 90s culture as well too, And
Right.
but even though I'm guessing some skaters were raving as well too, so.
Yeah, there was like baggy clothes, but also even then I wore a lot of black.
Oh, okay.
I was very into the
So
industrial.
you
I
probably
listened to
started the-
Nitzareb and like
So
New Order too.
so
and-
that kind of goes.
Yeah. So definitely was like.
So you were ahead of like this
alternative-
whole like
I was,
everybody
like,
wearing
no,
black.
I'm sorry. What?
No, go ahead.
I was
cut
in
you off.
that alternative crowd.
Because right now everybody's like it's cool to wear all black right now. So, excuse me, I was gonna burp.
Oh.
Excuse me, no, but so you touched on that your dad was a jazz musician.
Yes.
Somewhere.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So like musically, what was being played in your house? Or how did you get introduced to electronic music or dance music? And then which evolved to raving. Or did you get introduced to electronic music because of raving?
No. To the last question, I always loved music. I mean, even when I was in elementary school, I played the violin.
Oh,
My
okay.
mom loved
Diverse.
music. She played a lot of music in the house. She wasn't a musician, but she
Yeah.
loved to dance, and like she was very open about arts and things like that. So
Okay.
we listened to everything, you
That's
know,
tight.
like, and then we listened to, I mean, I even listened to Fleetwood Mac,
But
the
they're popular. I like
Eagles,
that. I like those
all
memes
of
that
that, you know, like
those memes for like, oh, you can't dance to Fleetwood Mac, like me, an intellectual, and there's that person like popping and locking to Fleetwood Mac. I'm like, yes.
yeah. So I mean, I listened to all types of music, really, and yeah. So I guess it was always just in me too, you know. Like I said, I played the violin, and then I inherited a piano from my aunt, and my aunt, she used to play the piano for silent films.
Oh, whoa,
She's like one of the first, like, yeah, like
whoa.
she was an amazing pianist, and
What?
yeah, I still have some of her old sheet music.
That's tight. And
yeah.
and she okay, no, like that's tight. That's
And so
like
I got
that's
her piano when she, you know, she unfortunately, you know, like with age, she
Yeah.
ended up getting like Alzheimer's
Okay.
and stuff. And then like it was interesting because, you know, by the time you go to visit people and they have that disease, they don't remember a lot of stuff. But she wouldn't remember us, but she would still sit down at the piano.
Oh,
and
so
just-
she that was her.
that she
That's
never
the
forgot. Yeah. So I got her piano.
Yo,
And
that's
then I
interesting.
just
That's so
started playing piano, and I stopped playing the violin, and I stuck with piano.
and then did you get into DJing like way later on, or that's
Yeah, like, yeah, I'm trying to think back. That was so long.
no, you could no, yeah, that happens as well too. Like trying to pinpoint like
Wow.
when was it like
No, I played the piano. I played the keys in a funk band at one point. I did a lot of
Oh,
vocal
whoa, so-
stuff. So I was more, even though I love dance music and R&B and all that, like I was a vocalist and a pianist. So I did that. I played blues, jazz, sang. I did a lot of singing. And then going out was dance music and
Oh, okay,
stuff like
okay,
that.
okay.
And then it was like one of those, I guess, the typical story. You start dating a DJ, you know. So I used to date this woman, and she was a DJ. She had tons of vinyl, and then
Oh.
like we'd take trips, go down to Chicago and buy vinyl, and like,
Yeah.
and then, you know, like obviously being a music lover, and then, you know, like I bought vinyl. I still have some of those pieces actually.
something like that?
I still have the originals, but and then like, yeah, I would just practice and DJing, or like she'd be gone and I'd be at her turntable
Just trying it out. That's tight.
DJing, you know,
Yeah,
and
no, that's
recording.
like-
Then you'd record it on cassettes and stuff.
What?
Yeah, but I mean, I had like one gig, I think, then, and then I don't know, I never really like
Said like, okay, I'm gonna
be a
do
DJ. It was just
this.
something that I just did, like, and that I enjoyed. Always loved music.
So that's tight though. So well, because I'm not gonna fast forward right now because I'm not gonna skip that. But just because of right now, currently you're in LA, so
Right.
you're really experiencing like every type of you hear about Midwestern raving as well too, and then Southern California, which is currently right now as
Right.
well too. But so you say you were in a funk band. So you were doing the funk band, and then well, of course, your whole life, musically, your family's all musicians, so music's always been part of your life.
Mm-hmm.
You're part of a funk band. Well, what were you doing before you came to LA, or what was like? Or let me actually not get too. So you started DJing? Well, I'm kind of like confusing myself because you were DJing in Wisconsin, and
Not too much. I mean, like I said,
Like,
it
you
was
just
more
dipped
like
in it,
just
but it wasn't like,
fun,
okay,
and,
you
like
didn't-
I knew how to mix.
so it was till
I mean,
you
you
came to
know.
LA when you were you like, okay, I'm gonna
DJ.
yeah, be a DJ.
Yeah, I guess, because I didn't really. That wasn't really the focus.
Okay.
You know, like it wasn't in the back of my mind like I want to be a DJ.
I'm coming to LA to DJ. No.
You know, like
So-
not at the time. I left Wisconsin. I went to Massachusetts,
Mm.
and I went to
Oh,
school for a little bit out there, and I wasn't working on any music at the time. You know, I went to school, I joined the military.
Whoa.
Um,
Okay.
you know, then I was in DC, and then I started getting back into music. Started doing some vocals for this guy. I wish I'd remember his name, but he was writing music, and he needed someone to sing because he wanted to sell, like he wanted to write music and sell songs. Yeah. So he needed like somebody to sing the demos. So I would sing for him. And so then I kind of just started getting back into it then, and I would always play. Like I always had, like I said, like a keyboard or a piano, and I always played for myself, you know. It was more for my own enjoyment. I don't know. I think that period of my life, I feel like I spent a lot of time just kind of floating around, just trying to figuring shit out, you know.
But that's what, like, I hear, like, you know, what happens that people have to do that, you know, to kind of
And I was so young, you know, like I was just trying to survive. I mean, not in a bad way, but just, you know, like I was just experiencing life, like.
And musically too, you know. So like, you know, musical aspects, because, you know, at the same time now you're here because you've experienced so much stuff as well too. You already kind of maybe know, like, okay, you know.
Right. And I mean, I always was in the music scene, you know. Even then when I lived in DC, like I knew the Thievery Corporation guys, and we'd hang out and stuff, and that was like I said, that was like the 90s, you know. And then like late 90s. Late
90s, okay. Dang, because so what were you doing in 92? Because I was
born
in
92. That's the year I graduated high school.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Damn, I was being born. Because also, like, when I sat down with Jeremy Sand, I was just like, you know, when he said he was like, you know, raving in 92, I was like, and I was being born, you know. So it's just kind of like cool little aspect to kind of see, like,
right, the music lives
and
on.
This is why I ask so many questions, because I'm like, I always wonder, like, what was happening, you know, like when I was like being born, or when I was barely like growing up and everything as well too.
Right. I mean, I was in DC, and then we'd go to New York and go to like Tunnel and like go clubbing up there, and that's where, you know, Junior Vasquez is DJing, and Manny Lehman and Victor Calderon, and like
oh damn,
yeah. So he's been all those guys are like been around for a long time. Amazing DJs, you know, amazing producers. They were doing the remixes, and you know, so basically, we'll fast forward as I was working on music in New York, but I was singing jazz and blues, and I had a friend.
Were you writing these songs, or?
Yeah, I've always written songs. You know, sit down at the piano. I've written a lot of songs, you know, and I've kept them over the years, but I wasn't writing the jazz and blues. I was just singing.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't writing that. But I mean, I was like, okay, like I need to make a path for something. I need to figure out whatever it is I'm going to do. I better get on something. And so, you know, New York can be very fast paced.
Yeah.
And
yeah, that's what
I felt like I didn't have the time to slow my life down to figure out like and make a solid plan. I felt like that in that city. So I felt like I needed to make a move to a place that moved a little slower
just to kind of I can see that. That's what people say too, that, you know, that like New York is super fast paced. I remember I met somebody from New York who was living in Fontana, California, and he said, I love downtown LA. I'm like, let me guess, because it's kind of like, I guess a taste of, like, you know, like the New York, like, fast paced, you know, movement or whatever, you know. So that's what he says. He's like, I love it. It just reminds me of New York and everything as well too. But I'm like, okay, I feel it. You know, he's like, I just love, you know, waking up, everybody going
moving
somewhere, doing something.
Bustling,
yeah, like trying to get their bread or something. I'm like, oh yeah, I feel it. Yeah, I do respect that, you know. But you know, I like that calmness as well too.
Yeah, so. I mean, just in California in general, for me, in my experience.
Yeah. Well, yeah, of course, you know, you've
slower.
done,
So I had an opportunity to like pause, you know, and really figure out what I was going to do. My intention was to come back to California, Southern SoCal.
Yeah.
Kind of just chill for a minute, and then go back to school down here.
Okay.
And then go back to San Francisco.
Mm.
And I just ended up staying down here.
So, I think I asked it, but like, so when did you actually start DJing then? So like,
I mean,
or like
so
taking it. Okay, no, because that's the dumbest question again. Because meaning like you already said you already had like dabbed in DJing, but when would you say you're like, you know what, I think I'm down to take this a little bit more serious, you know, than just a hobby or something.
Right. Well, I guess I started. Let me think. Okay, so I started getting more once I was fully into the legal aspects,
Settled
and
in.
I basically, for the sake of, you know, like I had like a steady 9 to 5, and I had time to kind of just, like I said, I kind of grounded myself.
Okay.
And I had an opportunity then to use that free time to look and be like, hey, you know, like, let's get back to the thing that I love, you know?
Yeah,
So it's always been,
music, yeah.
I'm sure the story that everyone tells, it's like the struggle of like, you know, your passions versus
Trying
dealing
to,
with
I guess, survive
reality, you know?
economically. Yeah, like things
Exactly.
like that, yeah.
So I just started getting back into music, and then I got into Logic, started using Logic. And with Logic, I did a lot of self-taught, that sort of stuff. I was just, working with some people that I had met, like friends that were working on music. And I did a lot of self-taught stuff, like producing stuff. And then at the time, then I also started singing again with this band in LA.
Mm.
And we played a lot in LA and in Vegas. And it was like a all-female like Hendrix cover band. So I was a lead singer to this band. And I really liked it. I mean, I love singing.
Like Jimi Hendrix.
Yeah, Jimi
That's
Hendrix.
tight. That's
So
tight.
yeah, like, you know, and I had a blast doing it. And then I was like, but, you know, like I really like electronic music and focusing on production. So
Yeah.
after doing that, singing with that band for a while, I just was like, you know what, I want to produce my own music and not sing everybody else's music, you know? And so then I started getting into that. And then, you know, with work, it would pull me in and out of it. And then fast forward, I would say, so I did that. I think I started that like I'm not 100% sure on this. It was like 07, 08.
Yeah.
I'll just say that.
Okay.
Like somewhere
Yeah.
right in there.
Yeah, like a little. I always
So
tell
I
people
lived
to,
here
like,
for a
little
minute,
range. Yeah.
you
Okay.
know,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
like
yeah,
got
yeah.
into it. So then I was doing that, going back and forth, and I liked it. Excuse me. And yeah, so I guess fast forward some years, and I was producing and doing my own thing, and I was like, you know what? I really want to see if I could get a little more serious about it.
Okay.
You know, like I had made some other life changes, and I'm like, you know, I think I want to take this more seriously. I think I could do something more with it if I actually devoted more time and more structure, I guess.
Yeah.
So I went back to school for music, and I learned Ableton and learned how to use Ableton. And like throughout this path, I'd worked with people and met people in LA and, you know, did various things. But that I think was the real turning point for me, because then it was like, okay, you're going to do this. And, you know, I'm the type of person, like if I decide whatever it is, I'm going to do it, I'm going to like, okay, I'm going to do it. And then I'll like get into it. I'm like an all or nothing kind of person. So I did that, and I went to learn Ableton and really started focusing more on production. I started a podcast.
The Vibe Lounge
LA. Yes.
Yeah.
I started that, and at the time then, you know, I had a lot of friends that DJ'd, and was, keep in mind, you know, I had always stayed in the music scene in LA and going out and meeting people and doing various things. And I was like, you know, I'm gonna start this podcast, and I I ran it out of my little apartment slash studio, you know, and I got CDJs and a mixer, and had people come over and we'd
record. Oh, so they used to go to your, like, you know.
Yeah, they record.
That's the, see, like, having a setup is like tight because, or it's essential. Like, give the opportunity to people, like, record a set, you know.
Yeah,
like,
yeah. They come over, they record. We do video, and I did a few interviews, and you know, it was fun. I really liked it. I got to meet and really like what you're doing here. It was like really have a chance to like ask people questions and hear another side of their lives, and like. And I like that. And then I think like with production, but the more I started producing, the more I really wanted to focus more on that. And
at this time you were experiencing the rave scene in Los Angeles, or no?
Yeah,
like,
I mean,
like
I guess
raving, like we're going to like parties and stuff. Like
yeah,
that.
like underground parties.
Yeah, because I always say like rave scene, you know, but it's just like, you know, going to warehouse parties.
Yeah,
scene, you know?
Like I went to Clinic a lot. I mean, I did it all. Like you know, the whole LA scene. I loved the deep house, the techno, and like all the different. I guess, for lack of a better word, the cliques
subgenres.
Of
all their
subgenres. You know, I knew people in various
scenes, pockets of
which I liked. That was one thing I really enjoyed about the Vibe Lounge, is because I went to the music that I obviously gravitated to, that I like, and which I actually produced today. But I also had an opportunity to, like, you know, the B-side crew, where they did all like dub and
oh sure, nice.
They threw some really good shows, you know, and like Dark Tantrum from the UK came and played, and I met him, and like, you know, so like, you know, just different genres, you know, like and meeting these different people in these little sub pockets of sub groups of LA. But it also, I think, helped my production too, because I don't want to just produce techno.
Yeah, of course.
You know, I don't just produce techno. I do minimal, deep house, tech house, you know, not too much tech house, honestly.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
But, you know, like more minimal and
I've seen your recent EP with Sean.
Yeah.
That one was tight. Like, it had, like, you know, very, like, minimal, like, was it maybe the second track? Not Might, but the other one, because you have Might, The Breeze, and which one's the other one?
There's The Thing to Do.
Oh, The Thing to Do?
Yeah.
I think that would be a little bit described more like techie or more tech. But,
yeah, that's like the blend of like Sean Cruda and myself, for sure.
Yeah. But when you were doing the Vibe Lounge, well, of course, because we at this time we for sure decided that you can be more serious. So when did you come up with the name Trovarsi?
So
you were going to school at this time for music already, and you decided to do Trovarsi?
Yeah, like I think it was just, that was like the time where I'm like, you know what, I want to produce, and
you need an alias.
And yeah, and I just like the meaning behind it. Like Trovarsi, it means it's like to find oneself.
Ooh, oh shit. My fucking headphones. but nice. That's okay. So,
you know, and I feel like at that point I was like, I am finding myself, like what I truly want to be doing, you know.
Yeah, that's tight.
You know, and so I was like, I'm gonna go with this. This is, I feel like, works for me. And
that was a question too. Like, you know, how did you even come up with the name Asbatu? You know, that's pretty unique. You know, I've never heard of it. You know, Asbatu. And is it a certain language?
It's Italian.
Oh, it's Italian. Mm-hmm. Oh shit, that makes it super. Okay, nice. That's tight. Super sweet. And I know how you said you produce different types of stuff, different types of genres as well too. Would you describe that there's like a specific sound for Trovarsi? I don't want to box you in, you know, but like if somebody were to like say like, have you heard of Trovarsi? Like, oh no, like what would it be like? Oh, you know, she plays very dark, very minimal, or
like what do I play or what do I produce?
No, yeah, produce better. Well, because I know we're gonna get into it. You're also part of Forward, you know?
Right?
And would you say that there's a difference between you produce as Trovarsi?
Then when I play with Forward?
Yeah.
Yes, for sure. because Brian Markman is my
Yeah.
music partner in Forward, and he's very house, or like he
Yeah, I
came
can
up
see
in
that. I can
LA
see
and
that,
he
yeah.
used to throw some of those raves, like he used to DJ drum and bass jungle when they called it jungle back then,
yeah.
and like, that was sort of his vibe, like his, scene. And he grew up here. He's a year older than me, so we're running parallel, but in
Yeah.
slightly different scenes. But then
Yeah,
we
yeah.
cross, and then I think even for him too, he was like, "Yeah, we just called it dance music then." And maybe one room had dubstep. Excuse me,
That's
drum and
right. See,
bass.
much
And then
simpler.
and then techno or whatever now what we call today. But like so,
So techno, like what we describe as techno, back then they would just call it dance music.
yeah, pretty
Like,
for the most
people
part.
wouldn't even trip about, like,
think of
you know.
Jeff Mills and
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
yeah. I guess. Oh well, I guess then they were calling it techno.
Or they coined it, I guess.
But that whole like
it wasn't like, because I remember I went to
Kevin Saunderson,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
Good
yeah,
Life,
yeah,
like
yeah.
that.
Yeah,
All that,
that's-
like, come on, think like CC Peniston, finally, like that's
Yeah,
dance
yeah,
music,
yeah.
but I
That's
guess that'd be
yeah.
more house music.
I know. That's I don't
you
know.
know,
I'm
but
listening
we're
to it,
like,
I'm just
oh,
like,
it's dance
wait, would this be?
music.
I know.
You know,
Yeah.
like
I know, and that's why sometimes like for my coworkers or people who are like in my day jobs who, I guess, what do they call? Because I guess now EDM is a
Right.
term as well too. So sometimes they just say, and they even say EDM music.
right,
But I don't know. I just kind of be like, it's it's dance music. You dance to it.
right.
So, and then people are like, how do you dance to it? Like, however you want. Like,
Right.
legit. So, and then, but, okay. So,
Excuse
and, so you're trying to maybe explain to me and also the listeners, the difference between Trovarsi, which you produce as Trovarsi, and which you produce, with Forward. Well, for the Forward is just plain because you guys haven't really like produced like tracks, have you?
Yeah, well, we
Or,
did
like,
a couple
recorded,
remixes.
recorded, like,
We
okay.
put those out. We on SLC6 Music.
Yes. Okay. Yeah.
So we did a couple remixes, but yeah, we're like kind of doing. I feel like sometimes we're doing things backwards. We're like, let's play live. Like we just play live. Like, and then we're like, I guess we should produce some tracks and then, like, actually like play our tracks.
Well,
So
no, but
that's
that's
sort
too,
of
because
what
there's
we've been
people that-
talking about
Oh,
doing
okay,
right
like, actually
now.
now, like,
It,
okay.
it's kind of like
Well-
focusing more on that than before when we got together. Like, I guess to just kind of give that background, I guess, for
Yeah.
Forward and why and how we
started.
kind of came about.
Yeah. So, how did you even meet Mark? Or well, it's funny because at first, because it was Brian Markman, at first was always I was calling him when I was doing these interview like questions. I was calling him Mark. And I'm like, no, it's Brian.
People call
And
him
I'm like-
Markman,
and
by
I'm
his
like-
last name.
But yeah. So how did you guys meet and decide to?
We met through a mutual friend,
Okay.
and I was working with someone sort of like she was a DJ, and I knew I wanted to play live. I just wasn't sure I really wanted to DJ. You know what I mean? I wanted to. I don't know why. Maybe I just like want to complicate my
No,
life.
but I know because
But I was
I
like,
know when I see
I
people-
want to do some stuff like. I
know,
want
when
to
I see
play.
live
I want to
sets,
play
yeah,
live,
they're-
and so we were kind of like
hybrid, maybe kind of
do
maybe
like
with the
a
hybrid sets.
duo sort of hybrid DJ thing. And like I learned a lot from her. And then Brian, he's an Ableton certified trainer.
I've seen that. Yeah, I've seen his videos where like his lessons. Like he actually like is a teacher, right? Like,
He
goes, like,
teaches
actually
at Musicians Institute and Point Blank.
Ah,
So and I saw his live rig, and I was like, when I saw it, I was like, I want to do that, like that, or I want to do something like that.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
it was intriguing to me because I really like Ableton. I mean, I know there are people out there that are like all hardware, like in the box.
yeah. They get
and,
very, I know, very.
they're very
about,
like specific about it. But I like Ableton. I think
Well,
it's a
there's
great
tools, though.
tool.
They're like tools, yeah,
and
like
you can do a lot with it. You can stay and produce, and that's it. You could play an all live show. You can just do a lot with Ableton.
Well-
Not to get into too much of
A little Ableton lesson right now.
Yeah, but
Just kidding.
the point is, there's a lot of options you can do with this program, that's what I wanted to do, is try to figure out what can I do with it.
Yeah.
So we would get together, Brian and I would just pepper him with questions, and he would like, but he was.
He's probably used to it. Was he teaching at that time already?
Yes,
Okay,
and I think he liked it because we would jam.
Yeah.
And I took it seriously. And
So
Brian
he was
is a
like-
very serious person when it comes to time and energy. And
Yeah.
like, he's the kind of person that you can ask him anything, but, like, be respectful of someone's time. And I think
sure.
that what I got from him at first was like, that he respected my drive, I guess,
Yeah,
to
yeah.
want to know and actually show up with like
Enthusiasm
changes
and
to
like wanting to.
changes to my setup, because I was building my setup, and we would jam, and I would have to make various changes or whatever, and pretty soon our jams turned into less note taking and more jamming.
Okay. So
And
he was.
then it was very organic.
Yeah.
And then we were like, we should play together. Like, it just kind of worked, because even though we just had a good blend, I guess. Like, and became this organic thing. Like, eventually we're like, why not try to play together? We should try it. And then we played that show with you at Temple Tuesday.
Yeah, because I'm trying to. Because I'm trying to remember like the because I remember at that time I already knew who you were, Trovarsi, But I think, at this time for sure I was already following you on Instagram. So I'm trying to remember. I think I would see like some stories of you and Brian, like in the studio. I think maybe working on some tracks, or you guys were maybe listening back to somebody's tracks. I forgot what it was.
We were probably just working on stuff.
Just
like,
stuff,
we would
yeah.
meet up at like Point Blank,
Yeah, I
and
think
we'd
it
be
was-
there till like 2 in the 3 in
Yeah,
the
just,
morning,
like, just
jamming,
playing.
and practicing.
So how do you prepare for a forward set?
Well, with Forward, let's see. I use my laptop, and Brian does as well. We use Ableton, we link. And inside there, I do percussion. He does bass lines and synths. So I'll do
everything.
Right. So I'll do percussion, any sort of vocal stabs, and like any effect candies you hear sort of thing.
Yeah.
That I'll do that as well. So I just basically build racks. So I have like a main drum rack that I've, with various kicks,
Okay.
sounds, percussion sounds.
And
Like
do you already
hats,
have
hi-hats.
go-tos?
Yes.
In a sense, yeah.
So I use a combination of Ableton drum rack, which I've built since we started working together. I use the machine drum and the Native Instruments machine software. And I also use the machine.
Yeah.
So I do like a hybrid sense, even though
In a
I'm
sense,
using Ableton with some of my sounds and vocals.
Yeah.
Like any vocal stabs, I built I put them in a drum rack so I can play them in the drum rack. And then most of the drum, like the main drums you're hearing, meaning the kicks, hi-hats, all that kind of driving the music, is coming from the rhythm, the Electron rhythm box.
Okay.
And then my machine,
Your machine, yeah.
from the running Native Instruments inside of Ableton as a VST. So I'll put all my patterns in that. So then I can play live. So no one wants to hear anybody write a drum pattern
on
from
the
scratch.
scratch. I know, because would that be kind of you're trying it out what sounds good, and you're like,
Right.
you're
Nobody
like,
wants to hear that shit. So I have like skeleton
okay,
skeleton
yes,
like
okay.
I'll have like skeleton things that work,
Yeah,
and especially because some like the toms, and like I try to tune the kicks for the most part, and the toms and
to
everything. So I'll make a note of like my little clips,
Yeah.
what they are, what key.
That's what I was
And
going to
then
ask too,
Brian
because they
will-
all, in a sense, they ought to be in the same key, right?
Exactly.
Too, right?
So we
Like,
always play in the same key. So
Yeah.
you'll know, like if I'm like, okay, well I'm gonna play some drums and they're in the key of E minor, then he knows
Yeah.
to play any bass line or synth in E minor.
And
And vice versa. He'll
and
tell me
this is a
too,
personal
like-
question for me. They just came out to mind because I have a picture. Because we're talking about keys and everything as well too. Is there certain keys that go with one another? For example, like an E minor goes with.
Well, we
Let me
try
see
to
what I
travel
have
in the
here.
circle of fifths.
Oh, okay. So there's like you see, there's that circle that kind of goes.
Yeah,
Like,
we tend to travel in the circle of fifths because that's
Ah.
just sort of a musical standard.
like it says here, like an F major goes with a D minor,
Yeah,
stuff like that.
yeah.
Ah, okay. Just
So
have
we
to
do
double
travel in
check
the
on that,
circle
okay.
of fifths. Yeah.
And that's why you were saying that. No, and from now on explaining, that's why you say it's the setup that you did with Lewis, which is Delta Sign, recently at Over the Bridge. Because
Yeah,
you guys
Luis-
weren't using laptops at all.
no.
That's why it was just straight the hardware
Yes.
and the mixer. that you had
Yes.
that. Okay, that's why. Now I
Yeah.
did see it as like, oh yeah.
Which I'm now like forward. We're in like this, this point in our where two things are happening. We're like, okay, we need to focus and put out more music because we,
Music,
like I
okay,
said,
yeah,
we have
yeah.
a couple remixes out and they did pretty well, and we want to put out our original because all the stuff that we play, it's original music.
Yeah.
That we've written over the past couple of years. It's just
Okay.
stuff that we've written and then throw it away when we're like and move on something else. I
Oh
know.
my God.
So like now
that
we're just
scared
like,
me.
oh, like we should actually write some stuff
Yeah.
and then produce it out, and then along with that, I'm going into this. Well, I want to be more hardware based than laptop based,
okay.
or at
Yeah,
least
yeah.
I want to use my laptop.
Little bit
But
less.
a little less. I mean, I don't really look at my laptop, and I don't know if, for any of people that have come to see us play, like I think they can see for the most part that we just sort of, the laptop is just sort of this tool that's kind of running behind the scenes, and we do the playing with the actual
I've seen you guys
physical-
straight just like looking at all the hardware.
Exactly,
And then,
like the controllers and the hardware, and we've always had that in mind. We never wanted to be that group where we put the laptop right in front of our face and then that's our focus, because
Okay.
we wanted to play like we were playing our stuff like they're instruments.
Which essentially they are.
They are,
So, yeah.
but we wanted to play them like the
Essentially
focus
just
be on
your-
that as
yeah.
opposed to, hey, they have two laptops in front of them. But I want to use my drum machines, my Electron boxes.
Yeah.
But now that there's Overbridge, which is the software that now you can run your hardware Electron boxes into your DAW
Here's what-
and track everything out. I want to do something with that.
So essentially, are these
So I'm always changing my setup is basically the bottom
Well,
line.
you should be,
Like,
as
trying to-
well, because as like technology's like growing, evolving and stuff like that. You too, give it a dabble in it, because in a sense,
it kind
you
of
kinda
goes
see
with
what
my
works
name,
with you
like
as
the
well, too.
whole.
So finding yourself in a sense,
Yeah.
I
mean,
yeah.
I love, honestly, like I love trying new gear. I
Yeah.
love trying new VSTs. I love seeing what kind of sounds I can
Yeah,
get out
yeah,
of
yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
Sampling my modular and using it and dropping it in the drum racks
Yeah.
and using those sounds. And so I'm always trying to figure out ways to do things differently. Like
Yeah,
that's just what
yeah.
intrigues me. Like that's my motivation. I love it. And so it's so funny. So like Brian will have this, this setup, and his setup is growing within the confines of like he has what he wants to use already,
okay.
and so he's like building new sounds and synths and things like that.
That's
And I'm always like swapping. So I feel like
You're like-
he's like, it's like this joke of like almost like every time we see of like each other, like every few shows,
It's a
he's like,
different-
okay,
you choose
exactly.
different, you choose something
He's like, what are
different.
you playing with this time? I'm like, oh, I'm using this machine today. No, so. But no, all jokes aside,
Yeah.
I do want to lean more on my hardware.
Yeah.
But nothing links like Ableton Link in terms of, even with MIDI, like MIDI drifts, like
Yeah,
people
yeah,
that
yeah,
play
yeah.
with hardware, all hardware, I'm sure will all attest to what I'm saying.
That Ableton is the go-to.
Well,
for
they'll
that.
attest to MIDI. Like MIDI is
Oh,
great, but it does drift, and you have to start and stop sometimes. And
Oh, really?
I mean, it's not like like this, but it
Big-
happens.
yeah.
Like it just
Oh.
happens. Nothing is perfect, but for Brian, he's for the vast amount of sounds that he can make, there's no way that he could carry around that many pieces of hardware because he does all the synth in the bass lines. So for him and what we're trying to do, it makes sense.
Yeah.
But with him using the computer, it helps if I at least run some of my devices through the laptop because they're clocking my devices and we essentially link. And that just seems to be the tightest link so far.
Damn. Yeah, because essentially, because, you know, you guys have to all, like, you know, I remember when Annika went to her house, she's like, you know, I forgot if it was the DFAM that wouldn't, I guess, you know, sync up or something. So she's like, all right, at the same time. You know, the drum machine and
right, and she started them both at the
you know, so I'm like that's tight, you know, which is cool, but I see like
when you're playing by yourself, you can do that.
But when it's like, you know, two different people, but then with a bunch of two different hardware, you know, you guys are both
and they're leaning
multiple,
on you
multiple,
to like, and if I just stop,
that's
it's
scary.
just like
Has that ever happened? Just practice, like just practice, and it just kind of like
at a show or
really?
It's. Yeah, like it's.
Well, that is a better question. Like, has it happened like live? You know, like.
Like it's happened where, I can't remember what I did something where I stopped something and then we use a visual metronome. We made it like so it kind of just flashes like through a controller so we can see.
Okay.
So then he knows when it's coming around. So. At least we always know where the one is. You know, when we're counting like through the measures, we know where the one is, and we do like 4 bars, and so he knows where to come back to the one.
Oh, nice.
But sometimes if I started or stopped or whatever, the visual metronome is not right. So then, I mean, you know what I mean? Because I changed it. I essentially changed where the one is. So like there's been times where I've like leaned over to Brian like don't follow like the one is really this, you know.
And that was
and then he makes it work, you know, but yeah, so that goes back to the whole like the linking aspect. We are exploring this other box. It's called the Missing Link. And this guy from Massachusetts, he makes these boxes that you can use to clock your modular, or for like hardware it does MIDI, DIN, modular, so it has like a in-out clock reset, and it also has its own little Wi-Fi, and it has Link in it.
What?
Yeah, it's dope. So we're trying that out now to see, because then if that's the case, then I won't need to use my laptop because it has Link,
and that was straight,
and it can link to his laptop,
and that would just be hardware.
Then I would maybe just do all hardware. But so we'll see. You know, it's always
stay
a process.
tuned, everybody.
I know, right? It's always a process. It's always it's always a growing.
And
growing thing.
I was gonna ask you because you know you said like how you told the times that you told Brian like, hey, don't follow the one, you know, the one is it, you know, this actual one, and I saw you perform with Lewis Delta Sign, and I think a couple of times you would like lean over, you know, to tell him something, and that's is that a norm when you guys are playing live, you know, like, hey, we're communicating, like we're changing keys, or what would you tell him, you know, or
well, that was the first time I ever played with Luis, so like Brian.
Yeah, because
when I play with Brian, we don't talk.
That's exactly. I know. That's what I was gonna say. Like with Forward, you know, with Brian, I never just straight. Both of you guys are just concentrated on doing what you guys got to do, and it's tight, you know. Because when it seems, you know, because you guys are doing a lot too, so you know, it's kind of
right. Like sometimes I'll nudge him, like, "Hey, I'm gonna transition, you know, to a different song." But that's pretty much the only communication Brian and I are having. Like I'll say, like, "Hey, I'm gonna." Transit, because I'm doing the percussion, so I'll essentially do the whole quote unquote mix out of like myself mix into something sort of like start a new pattern, and so then he knows to start getting out of taking out his leads and basses, and then thinking okay, now he's gonna write something different.
Damn,
that's
cool.
It kind of gives them that heads up. So that's like our line of communication. I think with Luis, because we were playing all hardware, and it's the first time that we'd ever played together, and then first time we ever played together, aside from maybe 1 or 2 jam sessions in my house, and then so there was more communication definitely.
Yeah, because I would see you guys, you know, or more than anything, like, you would kind of like, maybe like now whisper something, and then just kind of go in. And then I was just like, damn, like.
Well, because I was
way different
mixing
than
his sounds
like a DJ
too.
back to back. Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
'cause I
because
was-
you were just using the mixer. I didn't see him touch the mixer at all.
No,
Yeah.
yeah. So he was just sequencing bass lines and some, like those top sounds. And then what I was doing with the two Digitacs and using the Zone DB4 is I was mixing into my own patterns to keep it.
Okay.
Even though I was changing the patterns, I was mixing back and forth in between my patterns. But then I was mixing him in and then pulling him out and telling him, okay, like, move on to letting him know, like, I pulled you out. You're out. Like, so write something
Get
else.
something else like
get
that.
going. Yeah.
Okay, so okay. Are you guys gonna perform again? You and Lewis specifically?
I think we've talked about it. I think, we want to get together and jam more and kind of feel it out more, because it's different too. Like when I play with Brian, we get a little more housey or a little more like tech house sort of sound, because he does play, it becomes a little more melodic versus playing with Luis, we're doing like straight up techno.
Yeah, that's
very different.
Very
different sounds. Entirely different sounds.
I was like, and then I remember the video that I posted up on my Instagram. So on my stories, if you guys are like listening to this episode and you guys go back to the Instagram, you guys will not find it. Or you guys hit me up, shoot me a text, and
or just look at my Instagram too.
No, that is that it was.
I think it's on there. Yeah.
And
or somewhere up there.
But the thing is that I was like, yo, this is so tight, like, and it's live as well too. I'm like, this is so groovy as well too.
Thank you.
Lewis, what synths did he have a mother?
He used the Model D.
Oh, okay,
and then
he
used the Digitone.
Okay, never mind. I for some reason thought it was, because I was just kind of like peeking over, seeing like the little color knobs, and then I think yesterday I went on Instagram and somebody posted up a picture, and I thought it was the same synthesizer, and then on the Instagram it was a mother. No, but it was the grandmother. Is there a grandmother? No, huh?
Mm-mm. Okay. He used the Model D, which is essentially like the Behringer's version, I guess, of the Moog Model D.
Oh, no, yes,
and then
yes,
he
yes,
used
yes,
the Digitone.
yes, okay, no, yes,
which is the Electron
Never
Digitone.
mind, there we go, yeah, okay. I was so confused. I'm like, you can tell I'm a noob. Or not even a noob, probably trying to get there. But, so how did you feel about your first performance as Forward, like debuting at Temple Tuesdays? Was it like, did it think it went well? Like, okay, we did good, or was there like some hiccups or some behind the scenes info?
Oh, wow. I think,
or if you could remember, because it was a while back. It was when I was at a DJ gig, so I haven't.
I mean, I think it went pretty well. I mean, there's always room for improvements, and like, there's always those things like, like
we could have changed that.
I should have did that or whatever.
Yeah.
And looking back, I mean, I don't like, if you look at my setup then.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's evolved so much, but I think I had a lot.
Do you remember what you were using at that time? The debut.
Damn, I had like, I guess for my controlling the tracks in Ableton, I used like an APC 40.
Okay.
And then I used the Push 2 for sequencing. And Brian uses Push 2,
exactly. Yeah.
And then I used, like, to launch these other like little clips and stuff like that. I used the Launchpad Pro and like some other controller, and then I was like, this is a lot to manage. I mean, I could let me try to see what I can do it less. And so I switched to the K2s, the Ellen and Heath K2s for a while, and I really like those. I like those a lot. Do you still? I still use those. I use those when I DJ with Tractor.
I seen people. Yeah, those are the ones that are like.
They're. I used 3 of them.
Oh,
with
whoa.
Brian. I used 3 of those, my Push, and that was it. And then, but now that I've been leaning towards hardware, I switched out my sound card. I put a new sound card, meaning like I don't use my old sound card or the K2s anymore. I now use the Zone DB4.
Those. And
I used it as a sound card too.
Oh, because it does have a built-in sound card. No,
Yeah.
those are the ones that are like come with the sound card.
Yeah, it has a sound card in it. So then I can run hardware and run it through
Anything is like that,
Ableton,
yeah.
and like then I don't need the K2s now. It's I replace it with the Zone DB4, and then
I think the 43C is the one that comes with. It's like the basic one, but with the sound card as well too. Because I have the no.
I'm not.
Because I have the. Somebody said that. I remember they're like, you can just hook it up to Tractor without a sound card. Me, I have the 43.
Maybe. Okay.
Which doesn't have a sound card, so I do need a sound card. Well, not this one, but the one to DJ.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so I messed up as well too. I'm buying, just the 43 because I guess with the 43C, I don't have to use a sound card, if I use Tractor. But essentially, how I told you before, I'm trying to move away from that and just go CDJs, a little bit of standard industry.
Gotcha.
And then maybe. Oh no, I'm not gonna throw it out vinyl. I'm trying to sound cool now.
I remember your set though at
that was with Tractor. That was
I thought it was a really good set.
So I had fun with that one too because it was an opening set, and honestly, I like doing opening sets because I don't know, it kind of gives you a little bit more versatile. I like to show you that you can set the mood,
right,
for the night as well too. Because I think I've said this before. It's easy to throw a banging set. Gather up all these dope tracks that you like to play out like super hard, but like opening is just kind of gives you some like
right
chiller,
it's true
tracks,
like
and it's just kind of and also like tests you if you really are like like a proper DJ, because proper DJ has to come prepared with any type of dance floor in general too, but also to any type of set time as well too.
Right,
you know how to open up and close the night.
Totally.
Or peak the night.
Yeah, I don't think that the opening set gets as much the props as it.
Yeah, because I know from like when I started DJing, people wouldn't really like to open up. I remember there was this like school thing that we did with people and everybody, and I remember nobody organized to see like who was gonna open up, and I remember everybody's like, I'm not opening up. They just turned around, like walked away from a different area. I'm like,
because they just want to bang.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and then I remember I had to open up. I was like, oh damn. So.
Right. No, I opened the Incognito when Tin Man was in town.
Yeah.
And I had fun. I liked it, but I had to think about it. They were like, okay, you DJ. They asked me to DJ, and to play acid.
Yeah, because it was like,
it was very specific.
It was a journey through acid.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, like what am I gonna do here? But it was like a challenge. Like it was challenge for me because I was like. My first thing when somebody asks, like, oh, should I play live, or what should I do, or should I use this drum machine or not, or Tractor? But they said, we want you to DJ and play all acid. So I'm like, okay.
Damn,
but
so all acid? So like,
I did an all acid set. It was fun though. I started like slow too. Well, slow for me, which was like 123.
Yeah. But I think that's essentially shit.
And I just kind of built it up from there and.
Was it like a 2-hour set, no? At least?
Yeah, I played 2 hours. Yeah, it was. Yeah, I really enjoyed it.
It's kind of reminding me, not comparing to like Annika's, but I remember when she did I think it was over 2-hour set, but you see that's when you first start off like and then the last hour it's already like when the dance floor is already filling up because there are people already showing up to the party and everything. So it gives you the time to really like open up and then just kind of slowly like pass it on to the next DJ, but a little bit more elevated,
Yeah.
So and I remember I really wanted to go to that night as well too, because how I said earlier, also you're gonna Santiago Salazar was on the lineup too with Esteban Adame. So I was like, wow, what a sick ass lineup, but like the usual kind of lagged it. So, but yeah. So so what you talked a little bit about your actually, because I still wanted kind of you were talking about your performance, but I had this question as well too. So, actually, I think what was it? Your top 5 synths that you could only have, because I know looking around there's way more than 5 synths and drum machines and like so. But if you were to have like some essentials, how like how that's gonna be hard for you, because now I'm looking at it like as well too. That's gonna be
essentials. Let's see, definitely the Digitech, like my Digitechs. Yeah, for sure.
Maybe
I guess it's not really a synth per se. It's more like it's a sampler, and you could sample into it. But
okay.
I
your laptop's already included, so laptop's included, but then just hardware.
No,
but yeah, just hardware. Say if you were to.
I would take my Digitech. That's one.
Okay.
I would take the Avalon bass, that's black synth right there. Does like nice bass sound. It does a good 303 kind of sound to
that's
it.
tight.
and
That's tight.
It has a lot of versatility. You don't always have to just open up the resonance on it. It's just, yeah. That, let's see. I would take my Analog 4, which is that synth over there.
Oh, this one right here.
Yeah. And let's see. You said my computer's already included?
Yeah, so that can just be like, okay, so computer's already included, you're good. So then you have your Digitech,
Yeah.
your, damn, what was this one again?
The Avalon bass.
Avalon, okay, the Avalon bass. And then, no Moog. I seen one.
Oh, the Minotaur? Yeah, that
Or
thing's
or-
pretty dope.
Which one's this one? I've seen this one.
Oh, that's the new Moog Siren. I just
it's
got
a new
it.
one. Okay, so yeah, I looked at. I'm
Yeah,
like, that
I
looks
just
like something
unboxed
recently that
it.
just came out. I was
yeah,
okay.
that just came out like last week. Yeah.
Did you
during
try it out
NAMM.
at NAMM? Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
I tried it
okay,
out
yeah.
in NAMM, and then I went to the Moog House of Electronicas.
Oh yeah, that's yeah. I've seen that was
Yeah, they did it again in a different location this year.
okay.
But
And-
yeah, it sounded great, so I was like, yeah, let me grab it.
Let me get. All right, so we have 3 synthesizers so far: Digitech, Avalon bass.
Let's see. So my Digitech, the Avalon bass, the Analog 4.
Oh, Analog 4, yeah.
I would the Minotaur. I really like it. And I like the Vermona drum machine. It's
Okay,
a drum
yeah,
machine,
yeah.
but it's all analog. So
I think do you know Mesme Giselle?
yes,
She has one, right?
I'm not sure.
I don't know. According to what I think I've seen her her stories when she's performing, I think she has one. It looked familiar. That's what I saw it, but
I mean,
think
it's
so.
dope, but you
Yeah.
can do a ton of things with it. I like to pitch it up and trying to get some other sounds out of it and use it for a lot of those top line little percussion-y
Yeah.
sounds. I
So
mean, it has a mean bass drum, don't get me wrong, but I like to kind of pitch everything up and do little use it for textures and things like that.
And what advice do you have for someone that wants to get into like just hardware and like synthesis as well too? Because from my experience with my mini brute, I know people shouldn't say like you're supposed to like hype yourself up, but I don't know, man. I suck. I suck. Like it's hard. I remember it's like I'll make some sounds and everything as well too, but I don't know, when I see you guys like play live and just in general, you guys make it look so easy. But even just messaging with Josh Sturgis, not sure if you heard of that name. He I know he was at NAMM as well too, and he said he's like, no, yeah, synthesis is hard. Like it takes some time, to really like master it and just be able to like understand it. So what advice do you give? I'm probably asking me personally a question, but it's probably for everybody too who
For in terms of what specifically, like what, like synth or
yeah, or like
what,
or to I guess to try to understand synthesis, or how to like understand like how to create these certain sounds and stuff like that as well too. Or because I know sometimes, like for example, like there was this.
maybe start with something really basic, like, I mean, in terms of having one oscillator, a filter, and
Because,
I mean, for example, the Minotaur, it can do a lot.
yeah.
I mean, you can get a lot of sounds out of it, but you see the front panel and what you get.
It's
I
just
mean, for
pretty
the most
straightforward.
part-
It's just there.
I mean,
Or
it's
not
pretty
too-
straightforward. It does have some
or-
shift commands in there somewhere, but that you don't need to know those to get it
okay,
going.
yeah.
I mean, to just understand, like, when you open up the filter, what sound it creates, to kind of get an association. For me, it's like association, like whether you use a VST or a piece of hardware, what type of sound you
trying to
get
get,
when you
or-
open up the filter, or open up the attack versus closing the attack, and the decay
Yeah.
versus what the sustain does, because then that's when you start to you have that association of how to make a kick
Yeah.
versus how to make a pad sound.
Oh yeah, because you see,
because you're doing the action. So whether you do it in a VST or a piece of hardware, I think it's for the most part getting something that doesn't look so overwhelming
Yeah,
because
yeah,
then you
yeah,
can
yeah.
see what is doing what. That would be the best, like the basics.
No, yeah, that, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
so you
yeah, yeah,
know
yeah.
like why is it making that sound? Like if it has like, you know, 4 voices and like all these other options on it, and you're just starting out, how are you going to know what
I think you just
specific thing
explained
is
to me in the
creating
mini
that
brew.
sound?
No, but because also too, for example, you would like, you go to you go to NAM and you start testing out these synthesizers and drum machines, and you kind of maybe already know like, okay, what can I start doing to start creating a certain sound and test it if I like that sound that's coming out. So you already know,
Right.
right, to approach a synthesizer in a sense, or no?
Yeah, I mean, because you know, for the most part, yeah. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
because they have the same, maybe they have different little features and stuff like that, but essentially, you know, they have an oscillator or several, or
And you know
I
what
mean,
to
depending
tweak,
on what you're
but you
looking
know what to
at.
tweak at least, what to try
Right,
to get
right.
it going and see like, okay, do I like it or not, or something.
Yes,
You
yeah.
see, yeah, that's exactly like, I feel like if I was at NAM, I would just be like, just like moving knobs and just kind of like seeing
Right.
if I make something.
So start
But
off with something small, you know, more manageable, or
would it be too much to get a mini guitar?
no. Like, what do you mean?
Like for me, like say like in an
No, I
essential.
think the Minotaur is probably more. I mean, I haven't really messed with the.
You
what
can
do
make
have,
some.
the
You can make some
microbrute?
harsh sounds, right? Like some
The
pretty like.
microbrute? Is that what you said you had?
Or a mini brute. It's
Mini
a mini
brute?
brute, yeah.
And you can patch that too.
No, I think the
Or which one do you
the
have?
micro's the one that has the patch.
Patching?
Yeah, so I have
because
the
then you're
bigger
getting
one,
into
yeah.
that too.
Yeah,
I
that's
mean, you know what I
yeah,
mean? Like,
yeah.
it's just.
That's what somebody said, like, because I remember somebody just get the mini brutes bigger, like, but then I was like, when I saw the micro brute, I'm like, you can do mini patching and get a little essential to start doing that.
Right.
But I remember with Annika's DFAM,
Right.
she let us kind of use it for a cool minute and was able to kind of test out the patching and everything
Right.
as well too. So
Yeah,
that
that's
was
like
cool
a
as well
8
too.
sequencer on
Yeah.
it,
So that was pretty cool to kind of, I guess, get a mini lesson on how to use that as well too. So
Right.
okay,
I think with all analog, I mean, you know, you take a piece of gear like that has like everything's like on the front panel. You kind of.
I'm trying to see. Talked a little bit of that, but I have this question that I like to ask.
Okay.
People. I guess in the rave scene, because I see how, or just raving dance culture. But specifically raving, because we're throwing, we go to these parties at underground or these warehouses, these locations that are very discreet, and not out of the ordinary, but just very discreet. And, but I do feel that, underground music has a little maybe political standpoint in society. Something, a platform that's counterculture, while productive at the same time, or also to just, creating spaces for people to just be themselves.
Right.
And also how I have you here, I want to mention is very a sound of solidarity, people coming together, of different, cultures
sure.
and stuff.
Most
What's your
definitely.
perspective on that? What do you feel that rave culture or just, electronic music has in society? Or
I mean, I think it's exactly what you said. It gives people an opportunity to come together, and they're not part of the, the quote unquote the norm or the mainstream, and people that kind of want to get outside the box and find others that have that common ground, and like a platform where people are more open to hearing new sounds and see a new way of doing things, and versus some of the mainstream kind of things that
that some trends, and you start really seeing popular trends or whatever. But I asked this question just because I don't know, I just like it. I like seeing I remember seeing it was a what was it? Damn, I think it was a Red Bull Music Academy conference talk, and I remember Mike Banks from Underground Resistance was there, and he was talking about how essentially their it was their motto, or in life was yeah, we're in a place that might not look so productive, society wise, in Detroit, a little bit, maybe a little ghetto, doesn't look like there might be some hope, but it's a place where we're trying to push forward. You know, we're trying to be innovative. We're trying to evolve. You know, even through musical, you know, or musical stuff or just creative. You know,
Right.
So and then I'm from San Bernardino, which is, you know, a lot of people can kind of also look at it kind of like, you know, in the ghetto or whatever. But I listening to Mike Banks was kind of cool, like empowering to be like, you know what, you know, San Bernardino, you know, it might be ghetto, but it's tight. You know, it's like a place for growth. You know, and there is hope in different corners of
Right.
of neighborhoods. But how do you feel about the current electronic music scene? You know, specifically, you know, whether house or techno in Los Angeles.
I think it's definitely growing, the more underground. I feel like, well,
Because you've
I
seen
didn't
also
grow
too,
up
like,
here, so it's different.
but you
with
still
the-
kind of got to experience, you know, like at least a decade, you know, You know,
Yes,
at least a
yeah.
decade of
I think
of,
techno is definitely starting to come more out of the woodwork.
the
so to
woodworks. Yeah,
speak. I mean, LA to me has always been a deep house or house kind
yeah.
of town, you know, or city, you know, like a
Oh,
lot
that's
of
cool, that's cool,
deep
yeah,
house. I love deep house, you know.
Yeah,
I've
yeah, of course,
produced
yeah, yeah.
deep house and put out deep house tracks, but yeah, I think that techno now or over the past, I don't know,
it's becoming the
maybe
cool thing. Well, not the cool thing, but like,
sort of, I guess. Or like, you know, it's now more like, you know, you see at the big clubs like these headliners and they're these big techno DJs, which I think is awesome, you know, because I think every music genre needs its day, I guess.
yeah,
you
true,
know?
true that. Yeah, it's pretty. But I like being involved in this whole techno thing. It's
Right.
dope. Seeing like everybody, like meeting people
Right.
like you know. So,
I mean, I think more importantly is just, for me personally, is just staying true to what I want to do.
Yeah,
And that's make music and have fun doing it and stay moving. Like, keep the momentum for myself personally. Like, just keep growing, whether it's learning new synths or new techniques and helping other people too. I mean, I teach a lot of people how to, you know, and I like that, like showing people how to do stuff. And
Yeah.
I definitely believe in that paying it forward kind of thing, you know, like there are producers that have helped me and shown me some things, and, you know, and then I do the same for other people. And I think that that's important. Ultimately, I think whether it's techno, house, or hip hop or whatever,
Yeah.
it's the camaraderie you build with the people that you, are sharing your music with, and, you know, like playing these shows or going to these shows, like that to me is what's important. And that to me is what I mainly try to keep my focus on. You know, it's so easy, I think, to fall into worrying about what everyone else is doing,
Yeah.
you know, and what's happening or who's doing what. And, you know, and everybody, I'm sure I can't speak for, I guess I can't speak for everyone, but everyone I feel may have those moments, or at least I have those moments like, oh, what am I doing? Like, you know, and then, but I try not to fall into that pitfall of comparing myself
Yeah, that can-
to what someone else is doing or their journey.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh,
like,
I see what you're saying.
you know,
Yeah.
like I like, oh God, you
Oh,
know,
no, that can-
like
that
I've
can-
only
yeah,
put
that
out
can-
4 tracks this
Yeah,
year, you
yeah.
know, and like, you know, or whatever. And then ultimately, you know, I just want to make sure that I can look at myself and
Yeah.
know, like, I'm having a good time.
Yeah.
I'm making myself happy with what I'm doing. I'm helping people when, you know, and to me, that's ultimate.
And ultimately, you're making people dance. You know, having a good
Yeah,
time. Because usually
yeah,
when
I
we're
mean-
dancing, you know, we're some type of, you know, little relief. You know, a little just, you know, a little groovy. You're just getting your
Yeah.
groove on as well too. So
And
that's
the
pretty
meeting
dope as
people.
well,
I mean,
too.
you know, like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
like you talk about Annika, you know, we've been sort of Facebook friends for a
yeah,
while.
that happens. You know, like Twitter friends. You know,
Yeah, and
your
we've
Twitter homie.
chatted, and, you know, like through that chatting, you know, we've met, and she just did a remix. I have a new EP coming
actually,
out.
yeah,
and she did a remix on it, and
So cool.
you-
She
you-
played it out. She played it out at
Oh, dope!
the track at the Synthetic Minds party.
Nice.
It was tight. Yeah, I'm like, I kind of heard. I was like, wow, that's
Yeah.
so sweet.
Yeah, and so I had another friend of ours, like, she played a couple other tracks that were on it, like the other night, and
Rosie?
I mean, so that's Rosie,
Yeah, okay.
yeah, Rosie Love,
Rosie Love, yeah,
yep, she
yeah.
banged out a few of them, like, yeah, but yeah, that's what I mean. Like, I like those relationships and the way like you get to work with people and.
So, you were talking about new music. Do you want to maybe give somebody or give us, the listeners, a preview of when to expect them, or when the releases will be?
Yeah, on the 12th of February, actually.
Oh, that's okay. That's so by this time, the tracks will be already out, you guys. So,
Oh, yeah,
hopefully-
yeah.
but hopefully everybody already checked them out. So he said Stellar EP.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. I have, I put 2 singles out on there, and then Stellar and Fervent. And Annika did a remix for me. Marcel Videla did one, as well as Michael St. Patrick.
Okay, nice,
Yeah,
nice.
and-
Shout out to them.
Yeah, they did a really good job. I mean, overall, the EP is getting a lot of good feedback,
Yeah.
and like you said, I think Annika played it out. She's getting feedback.
Yeah, that was tight.
Rosie
That was super
Love
tight,
has
yeah.
played it. I had Non-Compliant. She asked if she could play Fervent on a mix.
Oh yeah, yeah,
And she
yeah.
played it on one of her mixes she released. Mojave played Stellar on a mix that she is going to release. She asked if it was
she
cool. I
played
said,
like
go
that.
for it. Yeah, like, yeah, so it's good to hear, like, yeah.
Oh man, hopefully or whatever you plan to do for the mix, we get to maybe listen to some originals and stuff.
For sure,
and because
for
we're
sure.
coming close to the end of the interview, but I do not want to miss this. You have several series. One is an event series, and one is like a radio show. So the
Yes.
event series is Synth Signal, and you're also doing Fnoob Techno, which is a radio show from
From the UK.
From the UK. There you go. I was
Yes.
going to say, okay,
Uh-huh.
I knew, okay, there we go. So tell us, me and the listeners a little bit about Synth Signal and your radio show.
Okay, so Synth Signal is an event. I wanted to do something a little different other than just, booking people and having them play in like a more of a club setting. This series, this event the idea is it's open genre.
Okay.
Each performer, I ask a few people to perform, and they do like a 30-minute set. And then after that, they talk about what they did. So if they're, or how or their process. So what, if they're using hardware or whatever they're using, they talk about what they're using, why, their workflow. And then it's opened up for people to ask them questions about
Q&A.
it's open Q&A, so they can ask them whatever, like what are they using, how, what, whatever.
That's right.
I had a really good turnout. The first one, the premiere one, I did at Noisebug, and that seems to be the place where I'm going to continue to do it. They're awesome, super supportive, and it's just a great synth store in general.
Yeah, I was going to say, because in Pomona, California,
Yes,
it's 30 minutes away from my house. So to me, it's kind of like a local thing.
Right.
But
it's dope
I
though.
haven't
They
bought
have like a
anything from there,
really
so-
good, showroom floor
yeah.
that's set up for performance. And, the first one I had, basically all the Electron guys play. So Chank, which is, he's Mr.
okay, yeah,
Dataline
yeah.
from Berlin, Simon Cressell from, Tokyo, and even Rhythm Droid from LA. Like they all
nice.
played. I had Strange Strains from LA. And it was awesome. Like they each played their 30-minute sets, talked about, people had a lot of questions about their workflow, things like that. And I think that kind of opens that up. Like I wanted to do something different, give people a platform to play however, whatever type of music they want. It's a good place to experiment, try out some new things, and then talk about what you did.
Yeah,
and then people can ask you and learn something from you.
Yeah, I think that would be a proper, like, the thing is, I missed, since it was, little family member's birthday that day. But did you play that day?
I played in between. So
little, like, maybe the intermissions or something.
Exactly.
Okay.
I did. And I played my modular setup with Luis. So I did.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. Delta sign. Yeah, I think that's the time that I saw his the name pop up, because I know Over the Bridge recently.
Right.
That was like maybe the third time that I saw his name pop up. And then
Yeah,
I'm like,
he's
I've
a
seen
really
him-
good
seen him
synth
somewhere,
player. Yeah.
There you go. So yeah.
Yeah.
And when is the next synth signal?
Let's see. I'm looking to have it sometime in March.
Okay.
Unfortunately, I don't have the specific date, but
Okay, but still, like, this
it'll
is
be
coming out in March,
at
so-
Noisebug, and it will be on a Saturday.
Okay.
That I
Keep
can.
all Saturdays open in March, y'all. So that's how we're gonna lock it in.
Right. No, sorry. No. Yeah. It's just basically me trying to.
Yeah.
How life is.
That's
like
tight.
I've
No,
got a
yeah,
lot of
but-
things happening, so I
but-
want to make sure I give, the artist ample time to prepare.
Okay,
and,
yeah,
and also time to give them a chance to promote it too.
That's important.
So yeah, for sure. So, but definitely in March is one due, and I actually do that SoCal Synth Society too, where we do all those DIY builds where we, solder all of our own modules and things like that.
Whoa.
Too.
That's you see, that's I think the final form of somebody who really like like loves hardware, because it's like creating your own or building it yourself as well too. And I'm looking at that door. Is that a door?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's my sliding door for the studio. Yeah,
But-
it's all circuit boards.
Oh, so it's a door made out of circuit boards.
Yes.
Can it turn on or something?
No. Actually, you know what? No, but there is one piece sticking out.
Yeah.
If I did put a couple pieces in there, I could get it
Make
to
it
turn
function or
on.
something.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
that's
could
tight.
make it
That's
function.
sick. I know,
But
like,
yeah, they're all old circuit boards and
because I think through Instagram I saw that it was you built it yourself too with somebody else as well too, no?
yes, my mother-in-law.
Oh, okay, that's tight.
Yeah, that was my Christmas present. She came and brought all these circuit boards.
And you guys put it together.
Yeah,
That's
it took
tight.
2 days, one for each side.
Goddamn.
Yeah,
Damn. Hopefully, I get to that type of engineering level. You see, because that's engineering, no?
building the door,
Or like
You
just
mean,
in
or-
general, like well.
Oh
because,
yeah,
connecting
yeah,
the
like
wall-
electrical. She has like 4 of these huge doors in her house. They're amazing. That's
They're
when I
like-
saw
they're-
them. I
they're
was
like
like, oh my
even-
god, I need one. She's like, you need one of these, and I'm like, I do.
It's almost like an art piece as well, though.
It is an art piece.
Yeah,
I
so
mean,
that's
it
something like-
looks pretty cool. Like they're all different.
Looks from the future.
Each side is different, so it's pretty dope.
So we already basically talked that by the time that this interview comes out, your Stellar EP would already be released. Talk about your other releases that have been released in this year, because we're 2 months into the year and you have several dope releases. So
Thank you.
you're welcome. And maybe mention some of the labels you released on.
Well, right now, the Stellar EP is coming out on the Slick 6 or SLC 6
Okay.
music,
Yeah,
and
Slick 6.
the label owner's DJ McIntyre, dope producer,
yeah,
all
yeah.
around nice guy, and it's semi-local. He's based, I think, in Santa Barbara area, but yeah, like all techno, progressive, and some kind of tech house sort of vibes.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. And yeah, so I think that label, it's a small label, but it's getting a lot of traction lately. We did Billion Miles of Space, that we got a write up for that too, actually, on
Oh, okay.
6 a.m. and Progressive Astronauts both wrote up that one, and he has some other releases on that label.
I do remember the 6 a.m. write-up. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, yeah, we're just doing the do, man, like that, and the Pool House,
With Sean Cruda.
Yep,
which,
with Sean
charted,
Cruda.
it's...
Yeah, like
The-
Might. Yep, it did. The Might track, it charted. It was 15, I think, on the minimal chart.
Was that the track that, was it Diego played it at Academy?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, so...
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so...
Yep.
So, it's getting its rounds from
Yep.
from the locals, throwing it down as well, too, so... And, is there any... Do you have any releases that are going to come in March?
I do have some things in the works with TrueLife Recordings, which is a
okay.
label based out of Spain.
Damn, nice.
And yeah, so I guess just be on the lookout for that.
Okay,
There's
yeah,
a couple
sick,
things coming out with them, and I have some shows, I guess. Like,
Yeah, because I was like, because this is gonna come out the first week of March, so people will be listening to it and be able to maybe prepare, to hit up one of your shows in March. So, what do the people have in store for?
well, I guess for the locals here, there's a
LA.
LA area here. There's a new thing called Synthplex,
Oh,
and it's sort of like the NAMM of synths and modular.
Oh,
Only
whoa,
it's open
whoa.
to the public, which is pretty dope.
yeah, because NAM is only like
Yeah, where like you basically like if you buy a ticket, people can go, which I think is good. It's the way it should be. But that's going to be in Burbank,
okay.
and it's a 3-day sort of I don't want to say festival, but I guess sort of like a
an
festival
event.
event,
Yeah,
3-day
for sure,
event,
yeah. Okay.
where they're gonna do like all these vendors, all the modular vendors.
Oh, well, so people going to be able to buy some hardware?
I believe so.
Or
They're
just-
all gonna have booths and
Okay,
stuff.
yeah, so
so
it's
like,
gonna be like-
for example, Novation, maybe 4MS, Noise Engineering.
I'm gonna have to hit that
want to say Make Noise, but I'm not 100% sure.
Oh,
But
Make
just
Noise
to give
is
you an
tight.
idea. Yeah, so
I've been seeing some of their stuff. Yeah, they're sick.
yeah, they make a lot of really cool stuff. So like, and those are just a few. So anyway, what they're doing is they're having this event where they're showcasing their synths and modules and things.
Yeah.
And then there's going to be performances all on the evenings. And I'm playing with Forward. So
Oh, okay, sick. Okay,
yeah,
so
so
you'll be
we'll
able-
play that one of those nights. They haven't given us the
Date specifically
yet,
with that?
but it is
But-
that weekend. We're playing for that.
Oh, okay. And this will be for sure after the 8th?
Yeah, it's the last weekend of March. So
Okay,
it's
that's
the
enough time for
28th
people
through
to be able
the 28th, 29th, and 30th of
Oh,
March.
okay, yeah, that's enough time too.
Yeah,
'Cause,
so tickets are on sale for that too right now.
Okay.
You can do like 1 day or all 3 days. I think they give you a couple options. And then for the not so locals, but sort of locals,
Yeah.
or in Vegas, I'm playing Techno Taco Tuesday on March 19th.
Hey. And that, I know, I realized that
Yeah, those
Vegas
guys
is
are-
kind of like a local thing, like, so it's not that
Right.
big, you can push that drive and you can do it, and then, for some
Yeah, you can
Vegas
turn it
fun.
around, and yeah, you can
Yeah.
have some
Okay,
Vegas
so
fun and
Techno
turn
Taco
around.
Tuesday, sick. I think Roscoe and Dirt Project played a long time ago, but also they've been doing a lot of noise, like Techno Taco Tuesday specifically.
Yeah, they always have
bookings are
stellar
pretty-
lineups.
yeah, exactly,
Those
yeah,
guys
their
are
lineups are-
dope.
yeah, they've
They're
been killing
good
it.
DJs themselves, and they always book solid talent. I played their show a couple years ago.
Oh.
And they booked me to play on my birthday, and it was dope.
Oh,
I had so much
sweet.
fun,
That's tight.
and
That's tight.
they played the Vibe Lounge.
Oh, they've done that as well too. Okay.
We did like a 5-hour stream.
Whoa.
One time.
Damn.
Yeah, it was fun. So yeah, like I'm glad to be back and go back and play for them. Like
That's
I
tight,
think it's
that's
gonna be
tight.
I'm looking forward to it.
Techno Taco Tuesday, Synthplex.
Synthplex.
Oh, Synthplex. Okay.
Yeah.
And
then I have my
a
Fnoob
release.
channel.
You have some releases, and what happened? Say it again.
Oh, the Fnoob Techno Radio.
Oh, Fnoob Techno. Yes, in the UK. So
I don't know which.
is that a monthly?
Yes, it's the second Wednesday of every month.
Okay. So
the
for the March.
10th. Or actually, no, not the 10th. I'm sorry, the 13th of March.
Oh, sweet. So that gives you this one will be released before tuning in on 13th. Any other plugs? Or anything that maybe we didn't talk about. You want to kind of maybe expand on, or you think it's maybe essential to the listeners. I know we can do this over again as well too. Always as a podcast. I'm trying to have hundreds of episodes like every other podcast. So we'll do another Trovarsi. I do want to do a forward. Like with you and Brian, so
Yeah.
that'll be cool. Hopefully that can.
I think you'd like that too. Yeah. Yeah.
Sweet. So.
No, I mean, this was great. Thanks for even asking me to do this.
Yeah.
It's nice, sit down, talk about music, and just kind of reflect back.
Yeah, I know. That's what essentially does happen. You start kind of thinking wait.
Like thinking about, wow.
I know,
the
and the cool thing is
journey.
also too, like we're just like getting to know you as well too, you know, because you're coming from the Midwest to experience Midwest dance culture, you know, and then coming to California several times, you know, you did the NorCal, SoCal,
Right.
DC,
Yes.
so that's pretty cool.
Some in between. Yeah.
Some in
all of
between.
that, yeah.
But that's the cool thing as well too. So you're very, you know, experienced in life. So, but thank you for, you know, allowing me or inviting me over as well too. Because
Yeah, you're welcome to come
know,
over at any time.
you have a jam sesh.
For
Because
sure.
hopefully I can like start to master synthesis.
Yeah, you're welcome to come over and check
I'll
out
be
the studio.
Trovarsi's protege, y'all. So yeah, just but yeah, no. So hope everybody liked what we talked about. So everybody make sure to check out her releases. Stay tuned for the more releases. Stay tuned for her shows, her live shows as well too. You get to get a little insight on how she prepares. And if you guys want to stay tuned for Trovarsi's endeavors, musical endeavors in general, make sure to follow her on Instagram, SoundCloud, Facebook, and that is Trovarsi Official. And except Twitter is Trovarsi US. So make sure to hit that follow button and stay tuned to your projects because it's a dope human being. Thank you again, Trovarsi.
Thank you for having me.
Alrighty then. Signing off, y'all. Bye-bye.